All right, welcome to our e-commerce meetup. This week, Lori and I are going to be doing some teardowns. We have 4 different branded sites today, so we've got a lot to go over. Our goal is to kind of cover different topics for each of the sites. We'll look at them on mobile and on desktop with some screen sharing. Anyone can jump in or leave some comments in our chat today, and we can kind of highlight some things that we think are working well or things that are some opportunities for improvement. Our goal is to really point out things that are conversion blockers as opposed to something that's just aesthetic. We want to look at things that are keeping people from converting or from buying on the sites that we're looking at today. I'm AJ Davis. I'm the founder of Experiment Zone and a conversion rate optimization specialist. Lori's my co-organizer. Do you want to give yourself an intro?
I own Redline Minds. We are a full service agency that does most things. When I say full service, there's a couple areas where we'll run a small ad campaign, but there are better firms for PPC and in any case, we build a lot of stores on several different platforms. We also do some online marketing and email setups and text marketing and things like that. So anyway, we also like to educate, which is why we're all over Facebook and work with AJ. Actually, we work with AJ anyway. We do refer people for testing to her. She's one of the best in the business. So anyway, nice to see you all here.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I'm going to go ahead and start screen sharing, and we'll take y'all through the first site. Can everyone see my screen?
That's me.
Yay.
Do you want to do a brief intro for your business before we start giving some feedback?
Sure. So as I mentioned, we make craft cocktail syrups. Our product is all natural. It's made with all real fruit, no colorings, no flavorings. We use a natural preservative, so it's a clean label product. On our shop, we sell mostly like 8-ounce bottles of our syrup. We also have a berry trio and a citrus trio that are 4-ounce bottles. Then we've also got some I just added a bunch of little like cocktail stirrers and stuff that we had left over from all of our Christmas markets. I know you're going to tell me the pictures are terrible. But yeah, and then we also, we have a page for our virtual classes. We do a lot of like team building with those, like corporate team building is like our main account for those. And then we have a recipe page and yeah, an about page that talks kind of like about our story, about our syrups, and a little bit about me.
Cool.
Lori, do you want to go first with some feedback? I can navigate for you.
Sure. So as I look at the header, the first thing I'm going to suggest is that your header is huge. It's pushing everything you offer down. Now, the other issue, see, when you have this small a catalog, I'm a huge fan of having your products show versus being hidden under shop. Now, I realize shop is common for stores with huge catalogs because they don't have a ton of choice. But one of the things you want to realize is if you look, you're getting products on the homepage. I'm not. Let me reload this because your homepage looks different.
I navigated to the shop all as you were talking.
Oh, okay.
I was you were mentioning the catalog size, so I wanted to show everyone who was following along.
I was going to say, you know, if BigCommerce didn't load her whole site, we need to fix this. And I assume this is a BigCommerce site by looking at the template. So anyway, you know, when we look, it is BigCommerce. Yeah. When I look,
what is BigCommerce? My site is built on Squarespace.
Oh, it's a Squarespace shop. Okay. Yeah. No, I thought it was on another platform.
Oh,
anyway, okay. I'm allowed to be wrong. But I didn't look at checkout, which would have been the dead giveaway. So I would put the about us and the contact is great up front, but the rest of these, I would put all this stuff on the bottom. And I think the recipes are handy, but they're generally not necessary up on top for most sites. But if you have room, they can stay up here and bring all your stuff here. I would remove social media from the top. We don't want people to click away. You also have zero search, and people are, especially on phone, mobile, are very lazy. They just want to get to what they want. So I would make that quicker. I like your big image. I would be concerned. I mean, it talks about what you're doing, but if you're, are you selling classes?
Yes.
Okay, good. So these are products. They both have a call to action. I like that. I like your little social proof here. I think this is great. But what I don't see is a lot of value props. So one of the things you did when we asked you to tell us about your site was you talked about the quality of natural ingredients and a natural preservative. And I think that and even for the classes, you know, these are great team builders. I think that you need to focus on why your product is not the same thing I can get up the street in the grocery store. So why is your product better? Why should I care about your product? By the way, I love the font. I don't know how well that's readable, but I love the Insta famous and the fact you've got videos there and whatnot. But I would move the about us, which should, in the policies, which should be broken out. You need privacy, shipping and returns, because if somebody wants to know how you ship or what it's going to cost, all that, they want to know that right away. And let me go real quick here so I don't consume all the time. You have products on the shop all, which is fabulous. Do these things come in sizes?
No,
Not yet. Okay.
Yeah, no, we just sell, like, each product is available as an 8-ounce bottle, or then there are the 2 trios that are trios of 4-ounce bottles.
Cool. And then I would, and again, because the header is so huge, I'm on ginger lime syrup. If you want to match me or just pick a syrup, it would be the same comments. Because your header is huge, there's an enormous amount of white space here, which brings the product pretty close to below the fold. And I like your description. It's awesome. I would put ingredients on the page because people like to know what ingredients are on food products to review for allergies and stuff.
Lori, let me just jump in. So when Lori's saying below the fold, what she means is before you scroll. So anything that, yeah, just plain translator. We're in the biz.
Right there when you land. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So what we see often in click tracking behavior is that when we look at how people use pages, they're really looking at the stuff that's on the page right when it loads. And so you want to have the image, you want to have the call to action or the button above the fold. So it's the first thing they see, they know what the page is about, and they feel confident they're in the right place. And when you have those elements, bounce rates go down because people feel like the website's working. All right, go ahead, Lori.
Thank you. That was actually great. Yeah, ask a question quick.
Yes. So when you say when you say that the header is too big, so it bumps it down, do you mean the bitters and bubbles like in the middle, or exactly is the header that's too big? The logo in the middle?
Well, your logo is part of your header. And you've got all these things across, but you're, like I said, you're missing, you have your menu items, which are off to the left. And then over here, you have your cart, which should be there. You don't want your social media there. You do want a search of some sort and your logo. So yeah, the proportions here are wrong. They're not really buying your logo, they're buying your products. So
and the header element is typically considered navigation, this left section, the logo in the middle, and then any of these sort of interactive account type widgets, which are pretty typical. To Lori's point, some of these shouldn't be given this much attention, but I think the challenge is this white space that's created because of the size of the logo. Typically, a lot of sites are shifting to the logo on the left and the navigation in the middle because it has a lot of visual weight on the page, and you want people interacting to get to the products. Robin, I see your hand raised. Do you want to comment?
Yeah, I was going to say, as a consumer, I would love to see, like they're saying, that product on top. So I don't know if you guys can speak to, excuse me, any like data or metrics behind that. But yeah, when I go in, like I want to see what I'm getting, and to search for the policies and all that, I'm fine scrolling to the bottom and looking for the fine print and clicking links down there. Like that's totally okay with me. I just want to know what I'm getting right off the top.
Yeah,
right. There
One of
should
the-
be no question what the site's about the minute you land. So,
Yeah. Yeah, what I was going to add on the homepage is just so that you're striking this balance between two different types of services or products. So you have your classes and the syrups. And right now they're really stacked. So the first thing you see that's prioritized are the classes because it's higher on the page, and the syrups are second. And you may actually want to show those in parallel. So when people land on the site, if they're there to find syrups, they can see both and feel confident that this site will offer that as well. You could probably get rid of some of this text and just have a very simple box that someone could tap on to then go get more of that information, give you more space, pull that all up the page. And then to Robin's point, something that we see over and over again being very successful is actually exposing the products on the homepage in a carousel format. So you may have seen this where maybe you see 3 to 5 products across. You may be able to scroll through it, or maybe it's just a couple of products to begin with. Oftentimes it's the bestseller products, and it gives people something to kind of hook them in to pull them into the product page. So some people are going to want to click through the navigation. Some people are going to want to click through the learn more. And then some people are going to say, ooh, cranberry, the cranberry cocktail syrup, I really want that one. And they can click right to it. So giving people multiple paths to products can be really successful.
I also would say that your homepage is kind of wasted because you really only have 2 clicks right here on the same banner, and everything else is a click away with the Instagram feed. So, and Instagram isn't what you're selling. Instagram is supposed to help you. And it is part of your social proof. So in addition to showing products, you may want to make those 2 separate buttons categories, but above that, have a really strong value statement in an image, like make cocktails that will stun your friends, or the best cocktails you've ever drank, or, you know, and I'm just winging it here. Don't consider those good, but you get the idea. You know, why did you create the business? Why did you create this product? And by the way, make sure you have a really strong, you know, I haven't looked at your about page. Make sure you have a good story, but you can still explain why do they, I'm here. What do you sell? Why do I care? That has to be answered right away. And then you can build out your page.
And you have to really strike a balance because you don't want to have big chunks of text to describe that. So if you may notice on other sites that they'll have icons that describe like a more complex idea, like US made, and they'll have a flag. And then you'll show that same set of maybe 3 value propositions on the homepage, on the value proposition page, or on the product page, maybe again in checkout. And so it reinforces those core things that are the reasons people buy from you versus at the local grocery store or somewhere else.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome.
I'm
I'm going to play time cop and switch over to the next brand since we're about 20 minutes in. But we're happy to answer any of your follow-up questions, Caitlin, offline or in chat. Mark, did you have a comment before we hop over to something else?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Caitlin, do you offer your product as a subscription or just one-off sales, or?
No, I don't want to offer subscriptions.
Okay.
And
I'm just curious.
I know that there's, you know, a whole lot of value in that and everything, but it's not something we want to do right now.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Right. Great. Thanks for offering up your site, Caitlin. We're all excited to try your service. All right, we're going to switch over to
try it.
I know now that I've seen all the options. All right. Dare to Sparkle will be up next. And I think
that's me.
Yeah, do you want to give a little intro of your brand?
Yeah, so I'm actually going through like a rebrand right now. So I'm actually really glad that you guys picked me for one of these. So my brand that we're rebranding to is all about helping crafters and artists of all skill levels, whether you're just starting or if you've been in the game for 5-10 years. So I do specialize mainly in glitter, as you see at the front, but I also sell like other craft supplies that may you know, match with that, like brushes, silicone molds. I mainly cater to like epoxy artists. So yeah, going through a rebrand, updating photos, trying to get like a more like uplifting environment is kind of what we're focused on. So all the glitter names and product names are, you know, positive words, motivational words, stuff like that. So trying to get that feel throughout the whole website.
And what platform is the site built on?
BigCommerce.
You want to go first this time, AJ?
Sure, happy to do it. And I know some of the things there'll be some similar feedback. So I'm going to try to look at some different aspects of the site too. So one of the things I'm seeing in my, like this certain device size on desktop is there's a navigation here, but we also have sort of the mobile navigation here, which can be a little confusing because you may not realize that there's more here to find or how to kind of balance the items in one section versus the other. In contrast to the last site, there's a lot of variety in like the different categories and ways that you might move through the site. And so one of the things that can be helpful to help brand new people to the site is to tell them what are the new products, what are the best selling products. And instead of just a shop all category, including a separate category that you could click on that's best selling. Maybe it has 20 products, maybe it has 100, depending on your product selection, but really focusing in on a set of products will help new customers really figure out where to get started instead of getting overwhelmed by all the choice that they have. You've got a nice hero banner here. Some of this copy could be more direct. I'm sure Lori will give you some great feedback on that, so I'll keep moving through it. But making sure that you can read it, it's got good contrast. So there's a little bit in this image where the white text is getting lost on the white part of the image. So using transparent overlays can be a way to solve for that and kind of flatten it so you can easily read it. And then the shop now button is in the most de-emphasized part of this section. So it's a very subtle thing, but what we want to do is move the shop now into a more prominent position. So something centered is typically more prominent than something far over to the right. Our eyes start up here. Some people's kind of zigzag through here, so it's really de-emphasized, or just the diagonal movement. And so middle is going to be more emphasized than this bottom corner. I love your free shipping offer. One of the things that I see time and again is that we don't tell people enough about free shipping, and we don't nudge them with the free shipping offer to add more to cart. So I'd love to see this mentioned more frequently. There's something called a pencil banner, which typically lives above the navigation. It's a very thin line that kind of goes across. That's a great spot for a free shipping message. So you could have that be something that's sticky. It's with you on every page, and it could say free shipping on orders of $75 or more. And then when you've added to cart, you can say you are $62 away, you are $5 away, and that can help incentivize additional products in larger cart sizes. Lori, I'm going to toss it to you for any other thoughts on this page.
Okay, well, the first thing I'm going to say, and she doesn't show it, is that I get smacked with your pop-up instantly. And the reality is, especially when you're asking for my phone number for text and you're not offering email, which, by the way, rules out pretty much everybody over 50. You know, I won't give you my phone number. I'll give you my email. But anyway, I would give people an opportunity to see what you're about so they know if they want to be on your list. And typically we'll test that, you know, to see whether it should be a page 2 or after a certain scroll or after a certain time. You have a lot of options there. From the first banner goes, I love the sentence. It just doesn't tell me who you are or what you do or why I should care. So I think that it's a really pretty tagline, and it probably could be used, but I don't know that it belongs in some of your most important visual space. The other thing is you've done,
Lori, we got a question, a follow-up about the pop-up comment you just made. What's the ideal time delay for pop-ups? What have you seen, Lori?
Oh my goodness. So that's a tough one because it really is going to vary by your audience. And again, how fast do I realize I want your stuff and I want to know? So enticing photos would probably elicit a successful response faster than something where I have to dig through to figure out whether I'd ever come back again. So we always test. As a default, I'll start with maybe 5 or 6 seconds for a page 2, because quite frankly, if somebody isn't willing to look at a second page, they probably aren't buying. So that's the other end, is whether you just want numbers or whether you want buyers. So people likely to buy. So that's the other reason to delay, is to make sure that the people you're putting on your list and ultimately paying for actually want to be there.
And
So
I'd add,
that would be.
I'd
yeah.
add a third option, which would be a scroll depth. So sometimes we'll look for people who get past this initial load on the page so that you're seeing that they're interacting with the page. They're not bouncing because it's the wrong page for them, or they're not really looking for glitter. And then still hitting them pretty early in their shopping experience, and then hitting them potentially again later on or on a second visit. Oftentimes the defaults on these tools are just ask once. And my biggest surprise in A/B testing things is that when we ask for emails or phone numbers, I have yet to see a test where that hurts orders. I used to think it would annoy people and people would leave the site. We don't actually see that happen. People are pretty used to it, and they just may not give you their email or phone number. And so a lot of it's about optimizing to get the right email and the right phone number, as Lori's saying.
Yeah. So I love your products. I actually like your photography. I mean, I think it would benefit from a little consistency because some of these are full color and some of them are white background. Typically, your primary image is going to be a white background image, but for your homepage, this color is awesome. But what I think I would like to see here is, again, value props. You know, why do I want to buy these things from you? And perhaps some categories, just so they get especially when you have everything hidden under shop all, it'd be really nice to see some of your busiest categories up here, and some social proof. You know, so I see you have a Facebook group, which is a great marketing technique. I also, all you have on the bottom is a contact us. So you're missing all your trust pages, which are the shipping and the returns and about you. I mean, what makes you so spectacular? So there's a lot here I think I could add to.
Hey, Brian, I see your hand raised. Do you want to jump in with something?
Yeah, I had a question. So if you look at the products, there are some products that have 5-star reviews and they're highlighted, you know, dark, there's like a dark black color, and there's like 5 stars that are grade color. I'm assuming there's like no reviews there. I think kind of for the products that sell well, it probably makes it stand out, but I guess what are your thoughts on that, Lori or AJ?
I would put my featured products up front. Absolutely. The ones people like, because that's a social signal. They, you know, so, but it looks like a new site.
We've done some testing on this because the heuristic would be show how many reviews you have, put the best, like top reviewed things. And I think that's true in most cases. There are situations where we want to surface new products that aren't going to have reviews, and we've tested just hiding it all together. And so what you might expect is under most popular products, for example, you might see not only that it has 5 stars, but how many reviews it has. Assuming it has like a good number of reviews, it's not just 1 or 2, then we would want to keep the reviews there. And we want to show how many reviews they have to kind of show that strength of social proof. But for new products, we may not have the stars at all. So you might just disable it in that part of the page so that you're not distracting people from thinking about, oh, no one's tried this yet. They're really thinking about it being new and exciting as opposed to the first one trying something out.
I see. So you'd have all of your top rated products at the bestsellers. You see, you know, all the stars, you see the 5 stars, you see the number of reviews. And for the ones who are like newer and don't have reviews, you would just like, you know, remove the star feature and, you know, put them like maybe further down the page or maybe not on the page at all.
Yeah, new can be very powerful as a category, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend not showing it. I would just like distinguish it and have a different experience for how the reviews interact with those specific products. The real answer is A/B test it, because it's going to be audience dependent for how important reviews are and how many reviews they expect. But the heuristic would be for bestsellers, you would expect to be able to see reviews. For new products, you want to not even point to reviews because in this type of listing situation, because you don't want to distract people from the fact that they're going to be the first one to review it.
Got it. Thank you.
Cool. And I just wanted to give a quick product comment. I actually put the link in the chat, but I'm on the soft bristle brush page. And what I would suggest, if possible, since it looks like you're doing your own photography, number one, let people see the brush color as they switch through so they can see sprinkle versus goldstone mix, etc. I realize you have them all in one photo, and that's great for a primary photo. but I would separate them so as they switch, they change. You also have a very, very short product description, which isn't going to help people understand why this is a good brush. It also doesn't, like how long is this? What's the dimensions to it? If it's easy to clean, maybe you want to link to a cleaner that you sell. There's a lot you can do here, I think, but without words, you don't have anything to capture any SEO. Just so you know.
And just to explain the SEO, that's how you get people to the website using search engine optimization. So the keywords people are typing to find products like yours. One other comment I'd make on this page is that a lot of these templates include a lot of elements that actually distract people from becoming a customer. So share on these different social media platforms, probably just visually distracting, probably not useful for most companies because people are not going to be taking these actions. And if they are, they're probably distracted enough, they're not going to come back and buy. So let them like review or leave their own way of doing that. You could do as a follow-up email after purchasing. But the less we can do to distract people, the more that they're going to buy. Similarly, wish list functionality is something that for the most part is more of a distraction unless it's more of like a gift giving site where you might be putting together a registry of some kind or a wish list for holidays or something. So those are things you could A/B test out. But again, the philosophy or thing here is to really aim for simplicity, focus on image, focus on price, focus on the selections they have to make, and then a really good call to action, add to cart button.
Cool. Are we out of time here?
Thank you. I appreciate your guys' feedback very much.
Great.
No
Yeah,
problem.
thanks for sharing your site today. Appreciate it.
Love it.
All right, we'll switch over to plant addicts. Lori, why don't you go first on this one?
Okay, so I know these guys and an enormous amount of thought went into this site. So that this is a more mature, I think it's a great contrast only because it's a more mature site, where they've learned a lot from their customers already, where a new store is going to have to take some guesswork. And I think again, if we look back to the other sites that we just talked about, I think it's pretty obvious what they sell. You've got categories, I'm glad to see houseplants, guys. I don't know if Chris is in here or some of these guys, but I shopped this. I have a house, I just bought a house in May. So I actually came in here and shopped it to see what I could find that I wanted. And I was looking for houseplants, and that's a brand new category for them, but they didn't have it. So, and one of the things that I would say is as I look through, the homepage is great. They've got all kinds of ways you can filter your results to find what you want, except that as I got inside, so growing zone 7, it would be really helpful for me if the first thing I did was isolate the catalog to fit what actually will grow in my area, because nothing grows all over the place, and all these wonderful photos make me want everything. So that would be probably the biggest change I would make, is let's have these zones and houseplant, offered right up front so that I know what I'm looking for will work for me. Other than that, I like the filters. I like the containers. I like that in stock. I'm actually on one of the product pages. Just pick one. They're actually pretty cool. So I'm on the purple pixie lure, blah, blah. Okay. So one of the things, and it's kind of interesting. So this one's a pre-order product. I like that in stock is very obvious. Oh, goody, they have them. This will tell you if you want to pre-order it, so you can get ready for your spring. You can shop now, and it'll be delivered when it's an appropriate time to plant. On some products, I'm looking at another product where instead of that yellow, it's got a big turquoise button that says it ships now. So I can give that to you in chat, because some of their stuff, I mean, we picked the wrong time of year. Because you know, most people are not planting their yards yet. So what did I just do? Oh, I see. Okay. Wrong link. String of pearls, decorative pot add-on. This one didn't say either way, but I guess that's a house plant. So I'm not succeeding at this. I intentionally go into these things blind. There, I put the link in the chat finally successfully.
Lori,
Because I want to
that's
see it.
still a Dare to Sparkle one.
Is it really?
I'll give you a second
Okay.
to sort that out. And we had a question come in around tabs on the product description pages versus a single page. So I'll be really curious about Lori's feedback on this too. The thing that's really critical from a UX perspective or a conversion perspective is that people can find the information that's critical to making a decision. And so sometimes the tabs can be helpful just to help isolate those. But we've also seen designs work where maybe they're collapsible. So you can see something like open by default, and then the next section is container sizes, which is collapsed. You could click to open it to see the different content. So it kind of depends on what information's there and kind of which information is critical to purchasing. And we don't always know the answer to that without doing an A/B test of which things should be defaulted open, what should be first in the list. Oftentimes descriptions are defaulted to first and are least important because some of that detail just doesn't matter if it's the wrong size or wrong location. So it will depend on your use case and your customer and what people are doing with it. Lori, do you have any thoughts about SEO value of the tabbed approach versus exposed or something else?
Yeah, it used to be that anything hidden in a tab was deprecated from an SEO standpoint. In most cases, these are JavaScript, so Google is able to crawl all of it. So I don't think that's as big a deal, but and again, without A/B testing, this type of horizontal tab is less successful than a vertical set of tabs or accordion, which we commonly see on mobile. Accordion works on desktop. This looks like a site designed on desktop. I also am not real fond that the secondary tabs are so light. They'd be very easy to miss, and they certainly won't pass ADA compliance. They've got a video embedded in the description field in the one I'm looking at, but then it's also replicated in the video section. So I kind of wonder why they've got a duplication here, and the one inserted in the description isn't mobile responsive where the one in the video section is. So there's a lot of things here that I think this is nitpicking, but this is what you do. This is why AJ exists. She goes into businesses that have enough traffic to actually measure and says, let's see how your customers respond to these ideas and what we should test to see so that she could optimize conversion. So again, at this point, I think there's an enormous amount these guys are doing well, but I've yet to see a site that can't benefit from something. You know, there's a reason why even Amazon A/B tests constantly.
One thing I'd comment on, just kind of a slightly detour, is they have gift cards called out pretty prominently on their site. And so that's something that a lot of businesses kind of leave off the table or collapse and aren't really sure where to put in the navigation. And so if you expect that your consumer group would be gift giving this type of product or something in this category, give it its prominence to test it out. So we do see that adding gift cards, especially in the holidays for a lot of products, right into the top of the navigation helps those shoppers who are like, I don't know what this person would want at all. I know nothing about plants, but I know they like plants. And it gives them that direct path to purchase something that's quick and easy without kind of having them work to find if you offer a gift card or not. It's also a nice nudge to remember gifting, because people sometimes will be shopping for themselves and go, oh yeah, so-and-so's birthday is coming up. I should really get them something from the site. So it's a nice way to get a higher AOV as well.
I also just realized that they do have the growing zone option, but I missed it completely, which tells me it's probably not in the right place. it also pushes the cart, which people expect to be at the far right, over, but it's red. I don't find that to be a huge issue. The other thing is while I've gotten my zone, it isn't segmenting out the category, the product. So I actually have to go into the menu and click on my zone, and then it will separate out the catalog. And all it's doing there is checking the filter. So I am at least seeing a filtered selection. So it's possible to do that. It's just not executed, I think, as customer friendly as it could be.
Yeah, and as someone who didn't even know what a grow zone was before this call, to me, I wouldn't even know where to begin if I saw that in the navigation. I see by zone. I don't know what my zone is. I don't know what it is. And so giving that more prominence to help people, like a way to do that might be like, find out what plants will grow in your area, like use the plain language to help people who are new to the type of product you offer navigate your product selection. It's very similar to best sellers, right? The idea of narrowing in the product selection, hand holding that new customer through your catalog is, pre-filtering or kind of pointing people that's based on my input rather than asking me for my zip code. Remind me that, hey, plants don't grow everywhere, because I would be that person who would say, oh, it's really beautiful, I just want to have it at my house, so let me order it, and then I'll fail. Thank you, Sherry, for your notes on that. I appreciate that. Lori, I'm going to click through to the orders, the order flow here for your feedback too.
Okay. I also wanted to say that a wish list probably is super helpful on a site like this, where I'm planning what I want for next spring, or this spring, as the case may be. But there's something, the way the human eye tracks, it's inclined to take the rightmost action visual. So whatever's on the right-hand side is what somebody's more likely to do. And in this case, what do you want them to do? You really want them to buy today, not maybe come back later. So I would switch those buttons. And on BigCommerce, there's also a default on the drop-down mini cart that's backwards as well. What do you want them to do? Give me your money. That's what I want you to do. So let's encourage that.
The other thing about this kind of flyover, these types of mechanisms can be really helpful for two things. One, nudging people into that checking out process to get their credit card information, and two, to do upsells. This current one is falling short on a few of those things. So one, okay, 2 items were added to your cart. What's next? Leaves me with a lot of ambiguity for me to figure out. I don't know what's next. I have to figure out what you want me to do. So just like, give me that confirmation. We've added a second item, or you have 2 items in your cart, and remove these types of questions. Simplified language. So instead of proceed to checkout, just have the button say checkout. A squint test is a really super scientific approach to deciding which CTA is the most prominent. If you sit back and you squint your eyes, which thing kind of pops out the most on this page? And that's the thing that's going to probably get the most attention and get the most clicks. So if it's PayPal or Amazon Pay, that's probably what's passing the test here. If we want them to stick with the regular checkout, that one is definitely de-emphasized versus these others. You can also make them more parallel. There's a lot of different testing you might do about when you make this decision for the different payment methods. I like the simple order summary with the cart number of items here. We don't want continue shopping or view or edit your cart to have as the prominence of a button. So we often will switch this to just a hyperlink. So you have the option to continue shopping, but it's not something that we're making you choose between as an equal option to checking out or PayPal. And same with editing your cart. That's just not as critical of a step for most people. We want to keep you on the journey. This product image is kind of fighting against everything because it's what has a lot of, it's actually probably what gives you the squint test is like the actual image there. The name is below the fold, the number of products. So this just really needs to be tightened up to reassure you what's in your cart. And there's a mixed opportunity to say, and here are the products that people like you bought with this, or here's what we recommend for you. So you can imagine like a smaller confirmation up top about what's in your cart, and then maybe, you know, 1 product, 3 products, 5 products below that are kind of upsell moments where you could quickly add to cart directly here, and then proceed with your checkout right on the same screen.
One more criticism, because I know we're coming up on time, but you can stay on the product page if you pop this down. There actually is in the description field some of the information you need to make a buy, but I would be inclined to add some icons for this rather than write. I mean, in addition to writing plant 5.5 to 6 feet apart when used as a ground cover, that could be an icon, because there really are pretty, you know, you've got the zones could be a graphic, the spread, the height, and that would also make shopping a lot easier. Unfortunately, rule number 1 of online marketing is people don't read. So an icon would help.
And it's easier to understand. So comprehension is much faster with an image than with text. So it's also aids in just how humans process information. But yeah, just assume they're in an environment that's really complicated. There's kids screaming, the fire alarm's going off. Just like imagine that they're in this really chaotic situation and that they're definitely not spending the time to like read all the careful words you wrote. Icons are going to help them in any busy context. All right, with our last few minutes, we're going to switch over to the AWD performance parts site here. And I didn't see any questions, so I'll go ahead and jump in on this one. So we are here looking at this image of a car. There's some information being passed to me by shop by vehicle, shop by category, shop by brands, but a lot of stuff is missing, or a lot of reassurances are missing on this page of like, what am I here for? What action should I take? Where should I get started? The shop by vehicle does have some visual weight with this red button on it. So it attracts my attention. It makes me think this is where you want me to start, but it would be even more useful to have something reinforced here about, you know, maybe it's just actually selecting your vehicle from a list or something to interact with to get started about my vehicle.
Click it.
On which one? The image?
Shop my vehicle.
Because if I click the image, nothing happens, which is also a problem.
Right.
All right,
Yeah.
Shop my vehicle.
That's what you're looking for.
That's what I'm looking for. And I'd look for that over this image so we can just really, it's in my zone of what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Scrolling down, we're missing a lot of product images and things. So these are just going to be distractions. This kind of follows that same rule we talked about earlier about reviews. If you don't have it, don't show it empty. It's better just to, you know, don't have this type of content, put something else here, or don't even show product images here. So thinking about that balance is really important. Lori, any other comments on this page or the nav?
Well, you know, again, as we come in, first of all, we got a cookie banner, which unless we're marketing or selling into Europe, we don't need. I would eliminate that because it just sucks up space. But we've got this big image of a car. And I don't know anything else about it. I mean, I can tell that you're something to do with car because your logo says performance parts and I see a shop by vehicle, but this doesn't tell me anything. I don't know if you're a broad parts store, if you're a specialty store, are you selling only high performance parts? I mean, there's just nothing here that indicates that, and this incredibly valuable space has no value proposition, no call to action, nothing. So, you know, it's really just taking up space. And then, you know, we certainly haven't answered the what do you sell and why do I want to buy it from you, which is really, you know, your major first impression. And then we pop in on all these products that don't have images. And again, no social proof, no categories, no value propositions. There's not even social media links. Oh, I guess there's a Facebook page at the bottom and a bunch of payment. But I think there's just an enormous amount of work that's still, this looks like a store that's just getting started and needs to complete more work. The other thing, and I know this theme, It's the oddest thing for this theme. They use the hamburger menu, which generally means this is a mobile menu, to run the sign in, sign out. And because it's in a key visual spot and it's off the expectation of most shoppers, I would not use it.
The other thing, as I was kind of clicking through as Lori was talking, is each of these elements on the navigation interact differently. And that creates kind of chaos and confusion. So clicking on shop by vehicle is popping something open that I interact with that then takes me somewhere else. Shop by category is showing me a menu, which then probably takes me to a page with a listing of those products. Shop by brand, if I click on it, takes me somewhere immediately. And then, you know, as we talked about, that pop out, all these different elements are kind of working against each other to create chaos on a site where I just want your help. Hold my hand, tell me where to go. Tell me the first step you need my car, year, make, model. Great, let's focus on that. And then create everything sort of de-emphasized for people who know how to shop the other ways. And so the other thing here is there's a lot of information here. It's not clear to me what the order is of these and how I should kind of like digest all these choices. The human brain can really only store 7 to 10 pieces of information at a time. So if our navigation gets much beyond that, we're requiring that people think and then compare, think and then compare, and it just really slows down our processing. And so thinking about subcategories, you know, apparel is not a parallel category to oils and oil filters. And so thinking about how can we separate those out, maybe they're their own navigation section, maybe you kind of click into an upper category and then kind of note in or focus in after that. But there's a lot of organization stuff that needs to be done to help people find what they're looking for.
There's also a category called uncategorized, which really shouldn't be there. But, you know, there's a lot here that I think could be improved. The shop by brands is really confusing because I didn't realize till I clicked that those are the brands of parts you carry. That should be information that at least to a limited degree is available on your homepage because it's part of trust. Oh, look, they carry my favorite brands. But you know, I assumed it was going to be car brands. So I actually jolted when I hit that page. So
I opened this page, Lori, and still thought it was car brands.
oh boy.
It should be like top brands and then a view all page or something like that. Mark, I see your hand raised. Do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I just had a question about when you were talking about organizing that big list of everything by shop by category. On the search feature, is that something that you see that people use a lot? Because, you know, a lot of times if you put in a certain name of a part or something that you're looking for, you know, it'll search through the entire inventory, not always specific for that model. So I was curious how you kind of combat that.
Yeah, we have clients in this space, and the way that we've helped them navigate these kinds of problems is that the search page itself has a lot more information. And so if there's more complexity to your search, instead of opening up a search field that's just empty, you can provide guidance and filtering on a search page that has more of that support, so that you can really set the page up to say, hey, give us your vehicle number, or you can search by your VIN number, or you can search by the specific brand of the part. And so kind of giving people more direction in search, and kind of breaking the traditional model of just open-ended search can be a way to kind of navigate them instead of giving them a confusing list of things to find, really focusing in on what they're looking for and how they're thinking about searching. Yeah,
because I know I was actually looking at, this is more directed to Phase Tech actually, because they're a Chevy parts store. And I'm looking for a specific part for my car that I don't know that they actually make. So I was just kind of curious how to go about finding that on the page. So.
Yeah, and these types of sites are more search centric. And so that's where having something like the homepage really focus in on capturing that information and then really filtering down everything, just as Lori said on the last site, can really streamline that customer journey.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
And we actually do need to put a pin on it for today. We're just a few minutes out for the end of our call. I wanted to, I'll give Brian a chance to jump in, and then I'll give some final announcements about what to expect for the rest of the year. So go ahead, Brian.
So When you typically work with e-commerce brands, is your services typically like a one and done, like one-time service and then it's over? It seems like, you emphasize a lot on A/B testing. So if you do, I'm assuming there may be kind of like a, like a longer term relationship where you're working across, a couple months. And if you do kind of like, I guess, do you do the one-time service, or if you do the monthly service, kind of how long do you typically work with clients? Is it 3 months, 6 months, a year? How does that look like?
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick and then give Lori a chance to answer too. So we, Experiment Zone offers an audit, which would be a one-time project where we would give an assessment like we did today, but in more detail and with a report of here's the top opportunities for your site. And those are often things that a team will go back and just fix. And then a list of things we could potentially do as A/B test. And then for folks that have higher traffic, are really able to support that ongoing testing and learning and optimization, we really see people seeing the value of that within the first few tests. And then we've got clients that have been working with us since the beginning, which has been 6 years. So it can depend on priorities and things like that for a company. But once you get rolling with optimization, you'll learn that there's always tweaking and always more revenue to be gained. And so as you learn more about your customers, you can get more and more revenue and success. Lori, how would you describe that for you guys?
So we also start almost everything with an audit, and we'll include SEO and sometimes actually we've just increased it to include content funnels and stuff like that so that you can really nail it down as you progress. We work off a monthly contract, and I don't do the same level of A/B testing that AJ does. She's just frankly quite better at it, and it's our policy as a firm to try to be the best or one of the best at what we do. So when I find something that somebody else does better, I tend to refer out. So anyway, I wouldn't want to even come close to implying that I do the same thing that AJ does. And actually, one of these days we should compare our audits.
Yeah, that would be fun. We can do that.
Yeah.
With our last.
Last thing I wanted to ask is, what are some conversion rates that you had with clients that, before they worked with you, and what it looked like after they worked with you?
Yeah, that's lots of variety in what actual conversion rates are that depend on some of the bottom of the equation. So how the traffic sources and quality of traffic, intent of traffic. But we very regularly see lifts of 20% over the first few months working together to conversion, and continuous growth from there. So that's a good ballpark figure.
And we find with the audits that we do, if we rebuild your site and get you set up well, we'll see a 12% lift just from redoing the website. That's our average, some better, some. I mean, I think the very best we ever did was 40%, but that was also an unusual case that wouldn't apply to most merchants. So it just kind of depends on what you sell and all the different things you're doing. Because if you're not marketing, we can build you the best site on the planet, but you're probably not going to do a lot of volume.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Are your conversion percentages based on upping advertising as well?
No, mine aren't.
Yeah, we
Hers
hold constant. We hold constant traffic, and then the percentage lift from there.
Okay.
Yeah. So the improvement to the conversion rate is what I was citing.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for joining today. We really appreciate the attention and all the different brands who put themselves out there for feedback. We hope you took away some really key things for your own business as well. We're making this a quarterly tradition now with the Austin e-commerce and meetup. So we'll be doing this virtually once a quarter. You're welcome to submit your site at any time, and we'll add it to our list of brands to tear down. We're also starting a monthly coffee hour here in Austin for folks who want to meet face-to-face. We'll be at Easy Tiger on South Lamar. And then once a quarter, we're also going to have some panels and guest speakers to talk about specific topics in more depth. So keep an eye on the meetup page to get information about all of that. And
just so you know, for March, it looks like we have Pinterest on tap. So for product-based merchants, Pinterest is often overlooked, and yet it in many instances can be one of your top organic generators. But so it certainly should be on your menu of advertising spots to check. So we're just going to talk, we're actually getting somebody from Pinterest in this particular instance to talk about how they use that to provide a lift. So
Thanks everyone so
Anyway.
much for being on. We look forward to seeing you next month. Take care. Bye.